Welcome back, everyone. If you've ever found yourself chasing after someone who's pulling away, today's video is for you. Most men believe that winning a woman back requires effort, proving their worth, pleading for another chance, or showing how much they care. But what if I told you that the real power lies in doing the opposite? Ignoring her isn't about playing games, it's about making her feel your absence. Think about it. People only value what they can't easily have. When you step back, you disrupt her expectations, forcing her to reconsider your worth. This isn't manipulation, it's human psychology at play. The principles of scarcity, reverse psychology, and emotional detachment all point to one undeniable truth. When you stop chasing, the dynamic shifts in your favor. In today's video, we'll explain why indifference is the ultimate power move, how emotional mastery makes you untouchable, and why the strongest position in any relationship is being the least attached. So, if you're ready to take control, not just of your love life, but of yourself, stick around until the end. And if this resonates with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Now, let's dive in. 1. The power of absence. People only recognize the value of something once it's no longer within reach. The air you breathe is unnoticed until you're underwater, struggling for a gasp. The same principle applies to relationships. When you're always available, always responding, always seeking her out, she never has to question your presence. But the moment you disappear, you create a void, forcing her to acknowledge what she may have taken for granted. Psychologically, the Zeigarnik effect explains why unfinished business lingers in the mind. When something lacks closure, the brain keeps revisiting it, searching for resolution. Absence creates an open loop in her mind. She expected you to keep chasing, reaching out, and proving your interest. When that pattern is disrupted, uncertainty replaces predictability and breeds intrigue. Intermittent reinforcement further deepens this effect. This psychological principle explains why unpredictable rewards are more addictive than consistent ones. She becomes mentally invested if she never knows when or if she'll hear from you again. Your sudden disappearance doesn't just create space, it amplifies her curiosity and emotional attachment. At first, she might not react. She may assume you'll come back as always, but as the days pass and your absence remains consistent, doubt begins to creep in. Did she misjudge your interest? Did she make a mistake? Why hasn't she heard from you? The more she wonders, the more her thoughts center around you. The tactical application is simple. No texts, calls, or social media engagement. Completely vanish, not as a game or manipulation, but as a demonstration of self-respect and control. The goal is not to punish her, but to shift the power dynamic. If she was the one who ended things, she expected to maintain emotional control. Your silence disrupts that expectation. Instead of you being the one seeking closure, she's now left wondering about you. Absence forces her to reassess. It makes her feel the weight of your presence by its sudden void. The result? She starts questioning. She begins missing you. She replays moments in her mind, now seen through a different lens. Your withdrawal turns you from someone chasing validation into someone who doesn't need it. Instead of pushing for attention, you become the one sought after. Ultimately, the less you chase, the more powerful you become. 2. Indifference as the ultimate power move. Nothing disrupts expectations more than complete emotional detachment. Women are accustomed to provoking reactions, whether it's through subtle tests, playful challenges, or even outright emotional manipulation. They expect responses, frustration, jealousy, pleading, or an attempt to re-engage. When none of those come, the script flips. The person they thought they had power over is now an enigma, someone beyond their control. Psychologically, this effect is rooted in operant conditioning. When a specific action no longer yields a predictable response, it loses its power. If she posts something designed to get a rise out of you and you don't react, she's left confused. If she reaches out with a half-hearted text, expecting to stir something in you, and she's met with silence or a calm, detached response, the dynamic shifts. She begins to wonder, did he ever care? Why isn't he reacting? Did I misjudge his feelings? This uncertainty and lack of emotional validation are far more impactful than any argument or display of neediness. Tactically, the execution is simple. Do not engage, no replies to cryptic messages. There is no acknowledgement of social media posts meant to provoke, no attempts to explain yourself or seek closure. Even if she directly challenges your indifference, the only response is calm neutrality. It's not about playing games. It's about embodying a mindset where her actions do not dictate your emotional state. This isn't passive aggression or feigned aloofness. It's genuine self-control. The expected result is inevitable. When a woman senses that she no longer influences your emotions, she begins to question her own. Instead of feeling in control, she feels unbalanced. Instead of being chased, she starts to wonder if she should be the one making the effort. When applied correctly, indifference is not about cruelty but self-respect. It communicates that your value does not hinge on her recognition of it. And in the end, nothing is more attractive than a man who remains unmoved in the face of expectation. 3. You are never chasing her, you are chasing validation. You think you're chasing her, but in reality, you're chasing something more profound, the feeling she gives you. It's not her presence you crave, but the validation her attention provides. Most men mistake this for love, believing they're drawn to the woman herself, when in truth, they're addicted to how she makes them feel, desirable, necessary, worthy. This pattern is no different from an addiction to social media likes. Whenever she responds to your messages, laughs at your jokes, or leans into your touch, your brain rewards you with a dopamine hit. The moment she withdraws, the craving sets in. You double your efforts, trying to get another fix, another text, another sign that she still wants you. But the more you seek, the less she gives. The more desperate you become, the less valuable you appear. Breaking free begins with recognizing this cycle. True self-worth isn't granted by external approval, it's cultivated from within. The Stoics understood this well. Reliance on anything outside yourself leads to suffering. When you base your confidence on her validation, you place your emotional well-being in hands that are not your own. But the moment you detach, everything shifts. You stop chasing, stop proving, stop seeking. Instead of reacting to her behavior, you stand firm in your values. Ironically, the less you need her approval, the more she begins to seek yours. Women are drawn to self-sufficient men who carry themselves with a quiet certainty that doesn't waver with external validation. She wonders why when she senses you are no longer looking to her for worth. She starts re-evaluating you, sensing the strength in your detachment. Attraction isn't built through pursuit. It's built through presence, through the confidence of a man who knows he is enough, with or without her. 4. The Stoic mindset. Detach or be destroyed. Emotions can either be mastered or allowed to take control. Nowhere is this more evident than heartbreak. When a relationship ends, a man faces two paths. clinging to the past and suffering, or detaching and regaining his power. The first path leads to endless analysis, checking her social media, replaying memories, and hoping for reconciliation. The second path is discipline, where he redirects his focus inward, becoming more assertive, independent, and unfazed. At the core of this transformation is the principle of locus of control. A man who remains emotionally entangled in a lost relationship places his sense of stability in something external: her actions, her attention, her validation. However, a man who understands Stoicism shifts his focus inward, recognizing that the only thing he can truly control is himself. He does not chase answers, closure, or her approval. Instead, he accepts what is and takes deliberate action towards self-betterment. This shift requires tactical discipline. He stops checking her social media, resisting the temptation to track her life from afar. He avoids reminiscing, knowing that every moment spent dwelling on the past is a moment stolen from his future. Instead of mourning what was lost, he removes unnecessary reminders and invests fully in personal growth, fitness, career, hobbies, and purpose. Each day, he refuses to engage in emotional self-sabotage. He rebuilds himself into a stronger, more centered version of who he once was. The result is undeniable. He no longer radiates neediness or attachment, and this shift does not go unnoticed. A man who does not seek external validation is inherently attractive. She senses his emotional independence, and it disrupts her expectations. She now sees a man thriving if she assumes he will remain stuck, questioning his worth in her absence. This alone can create a psychological pull, making her wonder why he is no longer emotionally dependent on her presence. Detachment is not about pretending not to care, but about reclaiming control. It is the ultimate display of strength, not just in relationships, but in life. And in the end, the man who walks away with his dignity intact is the one who always holds the power. 5. The reverse chase. A woman operates under the assumption that a man's attention is always within reach. She feels no urgency to act as long as she knows you're available through texts, likes, or indirect gestures. Your presence is a given, like background noise, always there but unnoticed. However, when that certainty vanishes, messages stop and attention fades into silence. Something shifts. A void appears, and with it a sense of discomfort she wasn't prepared for. The scarcity effect explains why people place a higher value on things that are rare or difficult to obtain. The moment you withdraw your energy, your perceived value rises. What was once accessible is now uncertain, and uncertainty breeds desire. This isn't manipulation, it's a recalibration of the dynamic. By stepping back, you force her to confront the absence of your presence. She may not immediately react, but the lack of reassurance over time works against her sense of control. Complete disengagement is the key. No direct messages, accidental run-ins, or strategic online presence to remind her of your existence. Actual absence forces her to question. She might start slightly. A reaction to an old story, a casual like on a post, a random message laced with intent. She is testing, probing, and seeking confirmation that she still holds power over you. The irony is that the more you chased before, the more noticeable your absence becomes. The silence speaks louder than any words ever could. Suddenly, she's the one wondering, did she misread the situation? Did she overestimate your devotion? And most importantly, does she still have your attention? This shift is what makes the reverse chase so effective. When you stop chasing, she starts. Not because you forced her to, but because the human mind craves what it can no longer take for granted. 6. The silent mystery. How to kill her curiosity. When a relationship ends, women expect a reaction. They anticipate sadness, subtle attempts at contact, and signs of struggle. They assume that in some way you'll try to prove your worth, whether through emotional posts, strategic displays of self-improvement, or passive-aggressive hints of moving on. But when you give them nothing and embrace complete silence, you create a void they can't ignore. The mind hates unanswered questions. The information gap theory explains that when people lack crucial details, they become obsessed with filling in the blanks. If she doesn't know what you're thinking or can't read your emotions, her imagination does the work for you, and the mind always exaggerates what it cannot confirm. Instead of assuming you're quietly healing, she wonders if you've already replaced her. Instead of relief, she starts feeling uncertainty, which soon turns into regret. The key is absolute detachment. No cryptic posts designed to spark curiosity. No carefully curated images to show how well you're doing. No sudden fitness transformations or staged social outings were meant to make her jealous. These things might seem like power moves, but they only reveal that you still care what she thinks. Accurate control comes from doing nothing at all. The less you react, the more powerful your absence becomes. At first she may feel indifferent, believing she made the right decision, but as time passes and there are no signs of struggle, doubt begins to creep in. Did she miscalculate your value? Did she overestimate her importance in your life? If you aren't reacting, maybe she wasn't as unforgettable as she thought, and that realization is what lingers. By refusing to give her answers, you let her mind torment her with possibilities. She loses control of the narrative when she starts wondering about you. The less she knows, the more she wants to know, and that curiosity, once planted, grows into something far more potent: regret. 7. Emotional mastery. Never let them see you sweat. Composure is power. The moment you lose control of your emotions, you surrender your influence. Women are naturally drawn to men who remain steady under pressure and who do not waver in the face of emotional turbulence. The reason is simple: predictability kills attraction. When a man reacts impulsively, gets visibly frustrated, jealous, or overly eager, he becomes an open book, easy to read and manipulate. But he creates mystery when he remains calm, detached, and controlled. And mystery, in the world of attraction, is everything. Psychologically, this ties to cognitive dissonance. When a woman expects a reaction, anger, desperation, frustration, but instead sees calm indifference, her mind struggles to reconcile the difference. If she was testing you, pushing your buttons to see if you'd break, and instead you remain unshaken, she starts doubting herself. Did she misjudge your emotional investment? Is she losing her influence over you? Uncertainty replaces certainty, and that uncertainty makes you more intriguing. The application is simple but requires discipline. No matter what she says or does, you do not react emotionally. If she tries to provoke you, you respond with amusement or silence. If she withdraws, you continue as if nothing happened. If she expects a fight, you give her a smirk and walk away. The key is consistency. The dynamic shifts once she sees that nothing she does can shake you. She realizes she no longer holds emotional control over you, and that realization forces her to reassess her attraction. The expected result? She feels the change. She notices that the emotional hold she once had is slipping, and paradoxically, the less control she has over your emotions, the more she wants to win you over. You place yourself in quiet dominance by refusing to engage in emotional games. And in that space, she finds herself drawn to you in a way she never expected. 8. The cold shoulder, how to handle seeing her again. When you see her again after a period of silence, your instinct might be to re-establish familiarity, to show warmth, seek validation, and prove you're still relevant in her world. But that's precisely the mistake that destroys your leverage. If you want her to feel the weight of your absence, you must let her experience the stark contrast between the man she once knew and the one standing before her. The contrast effect explains why unexpected shifts in behavior create strong emotional responses. The impact is magnified when she anticipates a friendly, familiar dynamic, but is instead met with indifference. It disrupts her expectations, forcing her to reevaluate everything she assumed about your feelings. If she took your presence for granted before, now she's faced with the reality that you've moved beyond needing her approval. The execution is simple. Keep your energy neutral, your words brief, your emotions unreadable. Don't be rude, don't be bitter. Simply act as if she's just another person in the room. If she speaks to you, respond casually but without investment. If she tries to gauge your feelings, don't give her anything to grasp onto. Your indifference forces her to question. Was she wrong about your connection? Did she overestimate her impact on you? The uncertainty fuels intrigue, and intrigue breeds attraction. Most men fail here because they either overcompensate with forced coldness, making it obvious they're trying too hard, or they slip back into old patterns, revealing that they still care. The key is effortless detachment. You're not punishing her, you're not playing games, you're simply existing on your terms. The result? She feels the void where your attention used to be. The more she senses your absence in real time, the more she craves what she once had. What she once dismissed now feels unattainable, and what feels unattainable suddenly becomes desirable. And all you had to do was let her feel the coldness of a world where you no longer chase. 9. The rebirth, becoming a man she can't reach anymore. The most potent transformation a man can undergo after a breakup isn't about getting her back, but becoming someone she can no longer access. Not out of spite, not to prove a point, but because the man you become operates on a level she never anticipated. This is not about revenge, it's about self-transformation so profound that if she ever crosses paths with you again, she won't recognize the man standing before her. Attraction is dictated by preselection, the psychological principle that women are drawn to men valued by others. A wanted, respected, and pursued man exudes a natural confidence that cannot be faked. When you dedicate yourself to growth, becoming more assertive, sharper, and disciplined, you change how the world perceives you, and more importantly, you change the way you perceive yourself. This transformation isn't just about aesthetics, though physical refinement plays a role. It's about mental and financial fortitude, about becoming a man so driven and fulfilled that your past no longer defines you. You build a body that commands presence, a mind that refuses to be shaken, and a life so rich with ambition that you no longer seek validation from any woman, including her. When she realizes what she lost, you are no longer waiting. The version of you that once craved her approval has been left behind. If she ever sees you again, she won't recognize the man she left. Not because you've changed for her, but because you've finally become the man you were always meant to be. 10. The final lesson. You never needed her anyway. There comes a point when the illusion shatters and you see reality for what it is. The attachment, the longing, the belief that she was essential to your happiness, none of it was real. Your mind played tricks on you, amplifying her importance while diminishing your own. Men often overestimate the significance of a woman in their lives, mistaking emotional dependence for love. But true confidence and strength are built on the realization that no one outside of you holds the key to your fulfillment. Neediness repels, self-sufficiency attracts. When you free yourself from the belief that you need her, you regain control over the relationship and yourself. It's not about pretending to be indifferent. It's about reaching a place where her presence or absence no longer dictates your emotions. You don't wait for her call. You don't hope for her return. You don't measure your worth by her attention. Instead, you build a life so complete, so rich, that no single person has the power to define it. And then, something unexpected happens. The dynamic shifts. The moment you truly let go, when you no longer seek, when you care, she feels it. The absence of your neediness creates a void she wasn't prepared for. She may try to come back and test to see if she still influences you, but by then it no longer matters. She lost her power over you when you realized you never needed her in the first place. The strongest position in any relationship is being the least attached. When you stop seeking external validation and instead cultivate internal strength, you regain true power, not over her, but over yourself. The moment you detach emotionally, you break free from the cycle of neediness and regain control of your life. So remember, chasing her only diminishes your value. True confidence comes from within, not from her approval. The most powerful move you can make is to disappear, elevate your life, and let her feel your absence. When she realizes she no longer has control over your emotions, that's when the dynamic shifts. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever experienced this power shift? What strategies have helped you regain control of your relationships? Share your experiences in the comments below. And if you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more insights on self-mastery, attraction, and emotional control. See you in the next one.